Voice of Students, powered by Onata, local part-time jobs.
Hello, welcome back. I'm your host Jyoti, and we are so excited for another segment of Voice of Students, a talk show by the students from universities across America. Each week, the students voice their opinion about various topics from politics to social media, education to culture, and many more. If you are a college student and want to be on this show, please register at www.onata.com/VOS. Now to my co-host Kylie.
Welcome to the Voice of Students, powered by Onata. My name is Kylie. This week, we are going to hear from students who either planning to study abroad or who have done a semester in other countries or even went on a mission trip or are looking to plan one. While both of these study options appear to be expensive for students, it's really interesting to all of these students. The focus of today's show is how to best maximize the benefits while abroad. Here we have with us Brett, Val, and Aaron. Hi guys, can you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm a sophomore at Rutgers University, New Brunswick, and I'm studying philosophy, and I went to France.
I'm Valentine. I'm a sophomore as well at Rutgers, and I study journalism and media and psychology. And my study abroad trip was last summer and was to Bologna.
I'm Brett. I'm a senior at Livingston High School, and I did a volunteer trip in Nepal this past summer.
Studying abroad is not only studying, but being alone in a different part of the world and learning. Throwing yourself into a place where you have complete unknown people, unknown cultures. It is learning the challenge of life that throws upon you. Understand the people not like you. In short, it is all about an experience, your life ahead of future. We are so pleased to have you all here today. To get started, you mentioned that you studied abroad or you had an experience of a volunteer abroad. Tell us the place that you chose. Is it because it was a fun place or that college is known for academics?
For me, I chose France because mostly because I was learning French. So I wasn't going to learn French not in France. And the study abroad program was, my teacher presented it to me, and it was recent, or like coming up soon. So I decided, I always wanted to study abroad, so I decided I'd just go for it.
Okay. And did you do it in your freshman, sophomore?
It was my freshman, it was at the end of first semester.
Okay.
For me, the trip, I didn't really know what to expect from it. My professor literally just stopped by at one of my classes and talked to us about the trip. And I really got excited about it because, I mean, that was my first year studying journalism and media, and I really didn't know what to do about it. I wanted to try something new and just to see how it feels actually doing it, like working in the field. And that's why I signed up. It wasn't really because of Italy, although I do love Europe, and it was a great experience, and I am excited about the Italian culture.
So my trip was a little bit different from theirs, where it wasn't really focused on academics, and I wasn't going to study abroad necessarily. It was more, I want to get engulfed in a culture that I wasn't familiar with, and I thought that like the southeastern culture of Nepal was just, I didn't even hear about the country before the trip, and it was just a great experience to go to a place that I've never been before. I didn't understand the language, I didn't understand the culture, the customs, and just to go and live there for a few weeks, it was a great time.
So who would you guys say was your main influence of guidance when deciding this? Was it your parents or your professors or your peers?
Well, for me, it was definitely my parents. What I wanted to do, my summer going into my senior year of high school, I wanted to do a teen tour, but I wanted to do something where I would go with kids my age, but I wanted like a little bit of like oomph to it, like for it to have like a style to it. So we talked about it, and we decided that this volunteer trip was kind of like a combination between like volunteering, like a teen tour where I could like hang out with like kids my grade while also being in this new culture and like really just exploring in like a world that I've never seen before.
It was just something I wanted to do for a while, knowing that I'll be in college, I might as well take those opportunities to come in. And I definitely had support from my parents for sure. They like definitely wanted me to do that. I definitely had support from like peers as well. But it was mostly my decision.
Yeah, my parents encouraged me and my friends a lot to go abroad because they know that I always wanted to go outside of the United States. and so they were telling me like go go go, you know, and I like because for me it was winter, so it was around like holidays, and I was kind of, oh, maybe I shouldn't go because I want to be around my family and friends for the holidays, but they were like, no, get out of here, go to France because it's what you want to do.
Do you think you still would have went and done this if it wasn't for their heavy influence?
I probably still would have, but I would have felt kind of like, I might have felt kind of guilty about it a little bit, but.
Any of your friends have been to those locations?
No, none of my friends have been to Europe at all.
I don't know a single high schooler that went to Nepal besides the kids on my trip. And when people ask me, they come up to me like, oh, Brett, what'd you do this last summer? I say, oh, I went to Nepal. They say, what? it's not even that they didn't go. A lot of kids don't even know about like the country, about the culture. So it was definitely like an interesting trip, like, and I learned a lot. So yeah. Okay.
Would you tell your peers about going to that place that you visited?
I was in South France. I was in Aix-en-Provence.
Okay.
It's right above Marseille, which is one of the biggest cities in France. I would definitely recommend. I personally like South France more than North France because it's warm and it's nice and like pretty, and you get like at the Mediterranean and stuff. And it was a really Aix is like, it was a spa town, so it's very like scenic and it's very, you know, it's not overwhelming, but it's a lot of fun.
How do you think the academic perspective was in terms of like studying your major in a foreign country? Do you think it was harder? Do you think it was very similar? What was it like having foreign aspects?
So French isn't my major, but when I was learning French in France was so much easier than learning French in America because I didn't have a choice. You either learned French or you didn't talk to anybody. So I learned French way faster while I was in France.
For my major, which is journalism, you get to experience an amazing thing when we got paired up with students from University of Bologna who study interpretation. So for them, it was a practice as well. And we would do interviews every once in a while when we talk to all kinds of people. Like one of my favorite trips was, the cool thing about Bologna, it's a very medieval town. Actually, the moment you step there, you definitely feel the history. And it has a lot of towers in there. And we've talked to, like, one of my favorite interviews was to a person who got one of those towers as an inheritance and made it into bed and breakfast. Cool thing about Italian history is that Bologna was a well-known city, so many rich families moved into the town. And when they moved in, just to kind of like make a statement, they would build a huge tower just to show everyone that, hey, we're here and we're rich.
I mean, it was great. It was definitely like a humbling experience where I was like basically stripped of everything. I didn't have my phone, I didn't have my computer, I had no way of talking to my home friends, and I was put in a group. Well, first I was put in a group of 18 other kids who were doing the exact same experience as me, met in the airport, and then right off the bat we went into this homestay experience where we were put in a, we were like basically living with a family that cared for us, and it was a Nepali family that didn't even speak any English, and I mean, it was just great to see just how they lived, to live like in their home in like a guest room. And then I spent my days with the rest of the group. Like we were trying to build or rebuild a portion of a school that was destroyed in an earthquake in Nepal. So overall, the experience was great. I loved it.
What was it like having a language barrier? Did you still feel connected to them?
Oh, I 100% still did feel a connection between them, but the language barrier was apparent. But it was insane, like how much I could get across just by pointing and hand gestures. And by the end of the 5 weeks, I really did feel a connection between my family.
That's nice.
I know, it was great. It was a great experience.
Are you still in touch with them?
There was the family had a kid that was our age, and he was so I stayed in a town outside of Ranapoa, Nepal, and the kid, his name was Sanjit. He was a great kid. I really enjoyed when he stayed over, but he was from Kathmandu, so he only stayed about only a couple days for the whole trip. But I am still in contact with him, and every once in a while we direct message each other on Instagram and talk on Facebook. And he asked me like how my school is going. I asked him how his school is going, and it's fun.
And those 18 other kids that were with you, did you know anyone?
before the trip, I did not know anyone. No, it was just kids from all across the United States. There was one girl from Canada and then another girl from Spain, and it was through a volunteer program called Global Roots.
Okay, Global Roots.
Yeah,
that's nice. Now, during the process, what was the most difficult factor? Was it the funds, the location, or adjusting to the culture?
I would say the hardest part was the language barrier, because unlike them, I wasn't going to I didn't have any like previous knowledge of the language where when you were going to France, you already had a basic French understanding and you were going to understand the language. I went to Nepal, I knew zero Nepali. When I was on the airplane, the second I stepped off the airplane, I knew how to say hi. That's that's all. And by the end of the trip, I picked up some basic phrases, but overall, the hardest part definitely was the communication language barrier.
Yeah, for when I went to France, I actually had almost no prior experience with French. I had taken French. I didn't take French in high school. I took Latin in high school. But so I took French only for that freshman semester, first semester freshman year, and then I went to France for 3 weeks. So I didn't have. I could say basic things, right? Like I could say I need to go to the bathroom or where am I? But like I didn't know how to say right or left. So if somebody asked me for directions, or if I was like, hey, should I turn right? Yeah, I can't say that. So that was difficult at first. But then it's like, after like the first like week, I felt like I could pretty confidently say a lot of things. And it started to feel more like, just like being on a regular vacation in the United States.
All right, and we're going to take a small break.
We'll be right back.